Hi everyone, welcome back to the Wings and Riffs podcast. Wings and Riffs Totally Unstructured podcast. My name is Torsten Ogle, also known as WinglessValkyrie. This here is Riffs, also known as Jackson Komikey. How you doing, Jackson? Don't worry about that. I just was scrolling Twitter. I saw that and went, oh yeah, that's right. And I saved it, and then I also have it, open over here on face-to-face games. Don't worry about that.
That right there terrifies me.
Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Anywho, how you guys doing? Hello, Daydream Fantasies. How you doing? Hello, Ethereal Ashley. Hello, Hell's Breach. How you guys doing? Beans, y'all have clip-on mics. Yeah.
Damn right
we're gonna start off right off the bat by saying, yes, the setup looks a little bit different. You can see most of us. Oh my God, you can see my legs. They exist. And we look a little bit different. I'm in comfy clothing because fuck it. This is a podcast.
Hey,
it doesn't. Yeah, it's a podcast. It doesn't really matter how we look. Not a whole lot of people watch it. So those of you listening, how do we sound? The second thing, we sound different. We're using different mics. We have clip-on mics, clip-on mics, so that we can get a little further away. Coupon mics, yeah, they're discount mics. That's the only reason we're using them. No, they were very expensive. But we have clip-on mics so that we can be a little further away. We have a little table here and such, and we fill the camera a little bit more. We are further away, but hey, if I need to get up and just fucking be really excited about something, I don't lose any audio, and I can just fucking do it.
Just do it.
I could just do it. Damn it. And so can he. So also, don't worry about the feet. You got to pay extra for that. OnlyFans. Anyways, so welcome back to the podcast. Hope you guys are doing...
Good thing we're never on the rails, so we can't ever go off them.
Hey, it's Wings and Riffs, totally unstructured. So, hello everyone, thank you guys for coming down. We have exciting things planned for you. We don't. Well, that's not true, actually. I do have, by one thing, I mean a couple of things and a lot of paperwork for it. We're going to get into that. But how much for defeat?
We haven't got that far.
Catch me in the private DMs. We'll talk about it. Anyways, before we get started, I like having... This is probably something I'm going to keep doing because I find that I have big topics that I just usually bring up most of these podcasts now. But you had something that you wanted to talk about that you didn't want to tell me before we actually went live.
Right.
So does that tie into what I was saying before? Should I say that bit of news first before you...
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that news, yeah.
Okay, so as a little bit of a lead-in, before we talk about anything, what I have in my hands here is Games Workshop, the wonderful company that makes Warhammer.
Oh, yes, the wonderful
company that makes Warhammer.
Wonderful people.
Necromunda, Blood Bowl, and all that different stuff. This is their financial report from last year and their goals and plans for next year in terms of finances as a whole. It's very revealing about a lot of stuff, and it directly answers topics I talked about last podcast, if you remember, so we'll get into that. But one of the cool things, there's very few cool things, but one of the cool things about this report is that it talks about they're in talks with a very... What are you pointing at me for?
The stack of G Fuel.
Oh yeah, the stack of G Fuel. Yeah, we're real gamers now. We got the stack of G Fuel tubs in the back there. Boom. You said you've never seen that in any YouTuber,
never.
Which blows my mind because so many YouTubers will have just a shelf of G Fuel tubs to show that they're a true gamer. That's the only reason I have it. I don't think it's cool. I do it because everyone else is fucking doing it, and that's so.
I mean, I was just doing this just because he pointed it out. I was like, yes, the G Fuel.
Oh, yeah. So. I do it. I mean, I say I do it ironically, but hey, if people recognize it as like the gamer thing to do, and I am a gamer, is it ironic anymore? So it's like it's that self-fulfilling.
Is it
prophecy.
Ironic? Maybe. Is it stupid? Yes.
Absolutely. I think it's dumb, but everyone else is doing it, so it's. It's that thing that's like
You're a little fanboy now, eh?
I mean, I like...
You're a little follower, huh?
I like PewDiePie, and you know what? He happens to make really great G Fuel that I drink. It's fantastic, it tastes good, and it's good for you. So, fuck it, why not?
Yes.
It is. It's all fruit powders. There's no sugar or anything. I've been drinking this shit. I mean, for a while. Clearly. So, man, I'm fine. It hasn't changed me at all. Anyways, moving right along. Not sponsored by Pew. No. Could you fucking imagine? That would be incredible. I mean, sponsored by G Fuel, I could imagine that very easily. G Fuel sponsors a lot of people. So I could very easily see a sponsor by G Fuel. A sponsor by PewDiePie? Probably not.
Never.
I don't imagine that would ever happen, especially considering the type of content that I and you do. Probably never.
Nah.
Probably never. But
nope.
That's besides the point. That's a far-flung fantasy that I'm not really.
Get us a Bricky sponsorship. There we go.
Sponsored. Oh, I thought you meant like his, because he's sponsored by GamerSups, which is basically, which is just, it's the same thing as G Fuel. It's just a different company. So
No, just get Bricky himself.
oh, just Bricky himself. Yeah, this is sponsored by Bricky. Go watch his YouTube channel. That's what he paid us to say. Anyways, moving on. There you go, Bricky. You're welcome for all the new traffic you just got. Actually, I'm going to talk about Bricky that directly ties to this, so that's going to be fun.
Interesting.
But anyways, going back to this financial report, one of the really cool things it talks about in this financial report is that they are in talks with a certain film company. They did not say who, but they're in talks with a certain film company about producing a live-action Eisenhower movie. For those of you who don't know, Eisenhower is a member of the, I guess they're kind of like investigators.
Secret police.
Secret police investigators.
With the most power in the Imperium.
Yeah, pretty much. They're called Inquisitors, and they're part of the Inquisition, and Eisenhower is one of their very famous members.
Is he Hereticus? Or Hereticus?
I can't remember. I have no idea.
I think he's Hereticus, which deals with chaos and all that stuff. And
I'm not sure what order he's from, but he's very famous. There's a lot of books on him.
Good.
So he has very much extended lore. He's a very fleshed out character. And they're in talks about a live action film about Eisenhower. They didn't say anything else, just that it's in talks. It's in talks. It's in the planning process.
Are they going to get Henry Cavill to play him?
I mean, I and Henry and every Warhammer fan in existence would be okay with that.
Would be perfect with that.
They would be so fucking Henry Cavill would be like, if you want to see me in a Warhammer film, done. He fucking signed in a heartbeat.
Oh, he would, absolutely.
100%.
Especially if he was like there to play like Trajan or something.
Oh goddamn.
Oh, he would absolutely just like drop everything and do that.
I don't think there's one role you could offer him that he would say no to. Like he's such a big Warhammer fan.
Warhammer, yeah.
I mean, if you offered him a role of a Custodians, he would take it because that's just the army that he plays.
Easy.
But I mean, I don't know how you do a film about Custodians. They're kind of Custodians are cool, but in terms of
right now they're actually going out and doing things rather than sticking around Terra.
Are they
in current lore? Yeah, they're actually.
Oh yeah, that's right. They are kind of moving out a little bit. That's true.
Like
okay,
especially like the Quill and Shield, they'll actually go out and like safeguard like
I forgot
random fucking guys.
I forgot about that. That's kind of it. Oh yeah, they can make a film about the Adeptus, the Custodians and the Guardsmen.
There it is.
Yep, that could be something.
And Henry Cavill's playing both.
Oh no, it's that Adam Sandler movie where he played himself and his sister all over again, but it's just Henry Cavill. I can't remember what that movie was, but it's bad. Don't watch it.
So the thing I was going off, I was like, if they were to make like a series, like a full-on series, like a live action series, so a character and a good place for it, like a good setting, would be Caiaphas Cain.
Yeah,
absolutely, Caiaphas Cain.
I could see that as a series. I mean, it could work as a film, but it could also very much work as a series.
Oh, easily. Like it could be you have a couple episodes on one part of his life, and then a couple at a different part. Jurgen will be there. Yeah. Jurgen's great. Like I definitely think a Caiaphas Cain series would do very well.
I think a Gaunt's Ghost series would also do very well because I mean. Again, their lore is extensive. There's so much you can draw from in terms of, producing a show about. Mm-hmm. And then even if you wanted to make a brand new show, like not taking any of the books direct to film, there's just so much about them that you have like endless amounts of a pool of stuff to pull from and make a cool idea and film it. So I think any of those kinds of things would be interesting to do. But I like the idea of an Inquisitor movie. Again, the only official movie we've ever gotten from Games Workshop was that Ultramarines movie, which I've rewatched again recently, and I talked about this last podcast. The animation is rough.
At best.
It's real. It's absolutely rushed. You can tell it's rushed. And even if you watch the special features, the animators and everything talk about how they were rushed to meet the deadline, and they couldn't delay it or anything. So everyone knows it's rushed.
The glasses are off.
Yeah, everyone knows it's rushed. But nonetheless, it's not bad. It's a very safe, middle of the road story.
Oh, easy.
But I mean, it was their first foray. They wanted to play it safe, and you know what? It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's like fucking fantastic, but it's not bad. It's a fun occasional watch. But I like the idea of now going into an Inquisitor film. I think that could be very interesting. I'm very glad it's not another Space Marine film because they've already done that. Even if they did a different chapter, They've already done the Space Marine film.
They're not going to do a different chapter. It's either going to be Blood Angels or it's going to be Ultramarines. There is no in between.
But if they do Blood Angels, I'll watch it. I like Blood Angels. They're fine.
As you've done.
Yeah, I watched Angels of Death, and you know what? It's good. It's decent. It has flaws, but it's a decent show. So, but anyways, all that aside, you had an idea. Oh wait, was that your idea?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was just like, Caiaphas Cain, because I like Cain.
That's fair.
But it also, because with Caiaphas Cain, he also has that the foray with inquisitorial business with Amberley.
Yeah, that's true.
Which kind of ties in that as well. So you're not just getting Cain, you're getting bits and pieces of the Inquisition as well. But from a more like overbearing standpoint, like they're above them and not really giving him everything that he needs to know. Yeah, because it's an Inquisitor.
He's told what he needs to know. Anything that's not necessary is kept away. Well, okay, even that.
He's told the bare minimum.
Yeah, he's told what he needs to function. Everything else, scrap it. You know, he doesn't need it. So
not even that.
I apologize for touching the mic so much. I keep thinking it's flipped over, so I will just try to stop doing that. My apologies. But yeah. So, well, listen. This is a very interesting thing. And boy, howdy, am I glad governments make this mandatory to produce publicly, because wow, is it revealing. So, as I mentioned before, this is public knowledge. You can all go check this out for yourself. This is Games Workshop's financial report from last year, and their plans going into next
2020?
year. Yeah, so this is what they financially made and everything from last year, and their plans going into
this year.
This year.
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, this is a financial report. Yeah, for 2020. Where does it say here? Yeah, so up until November 28th, 2021. This is their financial report. It doesn't say. Announces its results over. Which announces half yearly results.
I guess we're in 2020. I'm dumb. Never mind.
Anyways, so there you go. So this is their financial reports for last year up until the month of November 28th, 2021. This is the results of that. So I want to preface this by a couple of things before we go into some details here, because I am going to hark on Games Workshop so much. What the fuck else is new? But they deserve it. Here's the thing. Companies have profit margins. This is at the end of the day, after they've done all the sales, they've paid all their employees and everything. The profit margin is everything that the higher ups take home in their pocket. You know what Walmart's profit margin is? Or at least from their last yearly report?
Couple billion?
I'm not talking about actual money. I'm percentage. Like the percentage of all money incoming that was not re-put into the company.
I want to say at least like 20%.
You're close. 18%.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That is a lot.
Walmart's a very, very big company. It's a very big amount. Do you want to know what Games Workshop's profit margin is reported?
Is it like 40%?
Not that high. 37%. 37% profit margin. This is the telling thing. If they have a 37% profit margin, that means they also had that much wiggle room to change things financially within the company, and they can still be earning money and not losing money. Oh, yeah. All that profit margin is just going straight into higher ups pockets that don't make like an hourly wage or anything. That's what that is. I mean, Games Workshop is in the top 50 most
well paid.
Well, what's the proper like? They earn the most money out of, like, I can't remember the top. They are the top 50 most profitable companies in the world. One of them. I can't remember where they sit on that scale, but they're in it. It's unfathomably financially successful Games Workshop is. Which, to credit Games Workshop here, they make wonderful models. Their models are substantial now that they're no longer pewter and fucking resin for most of them. The plastic models are
Cries and Treason.
Yeah, fucking Cries and Night Lords conversion pack. So, you know, they make fantastic models. Their plastic models are wonderful. Forge World is a whole other thing. But
well, we're not going to get
We're not going to talk about Forge World, but
fuck Forge World.
Games Workshop's actual miniatures are fantastic. They're wonderful. Regardless if it's monopose or multipose, the miniatures itself are very well detailed. They're quality. There is no one can say Games Workshop makes bad miniatures. It's just flat out wrong. They make fantastic miniatures. Can they improve with it and certain things? Oh, absolutely. But in terms of just the model itself, when you look at it, it's fantastic. And that is their foremost thing. They are a miniature company first. They're a game company, paint company, and everything else like that. Second, their number one business is miniatures. And this is important when I talk about later. So, and their profit margin is massive, but that also means they have so much wiggle room to adjust things within their company and not go to a zero profit margin or a negative profit margin. They have so much fucking wiggle room. And I just want to talk about that all beforehand. And the other thing, 2020 was one fucking beast of a year for Games Workshop. Everything shut down, everyone went indoors, and Astartes just released Part 5, and so many people got into Games Workshops and Warhammer itself. Us included. Well, I mean,
we were in there from 2019.
Yeah, I'd say that was our resurgence, like actually getting back in. But that wasn't because of Astartes. That was because of Magikarp was the main thing. And like I'd played Warhammer, I would say extensively twice back in Anything and Everything days was my first foray. And then with that random guy who played Orcs that I met in the card shop before he went to the military. And then recently when Magikarp did his video was my third resurgence back into it. And then I guess you technically played a little bit back in Anything and Everything. You didn't have models, but
I didn't own any. No.
But we just proxied a bunch of shit as Necrons. And
I remember taking a crystal ball and be like, bam, that's a monolith.
Crystal ball, monolith. And this was back when like there was different toughness for front, side, and back.
So I had tape on it?
Yeah, we had a little tape note with a T and an F. And it's like front, side, back. Warhammer's a different game back then. But anyways, so...
I'm so glad it's not like that anymore.
Oh, God, yeah.
It makes it so much easier.
It makes it so much easier. It's fantastic.
Because having like the sponson weapons be like, oh yeah, that can hit. No, it can't.
No, it can't. No.
That's on the side armor, and no, that's on the back armor.
No,
it's like, fuck that.
Realistic? Sure, absolutely. Fun? No. So, and it's game. It's game. It has to be fun foremost. Realistic should be in there, yeah. And that's where you look down at the model's eye levels. Like, can he see him there? So that still exists. But in terms of like, no, his gun's on the other side, so he can't pull it around. That's all.
Which makes sense, but at the same time.
Yeah. Also, the turning rules where you had to fucking... It was all bad.
There's turning rules for
vehicles, you had a little proxy device where if you moved 3 inches and you wanted to turn around the corner, you had to move a certain amount of inches before you could make like a 12-degree turn before you had to move another couple of inches. It was this whole fucking ordeal.
And then
just
templates.
And then templates for flame and blast weapons. But anyways, all that aside, that was Warhammer way back in the day. But anyways... Where was that?
Much more fun now.
Much more fun. It's much easier to get into. I would say this is not the easiest edition to get into. I'd say 8th edition was the easiest edition to get into the game.
Easy.
It's much more difficult now. But anyways, all that aside, I just want to proxy by saying 2020 was an incredible year for Games Workshop financially. They had everyone close their doors, everyone was stuck inside, and a whole lot of people got into the hobby in 2020. 2020 was one of their most profitable years ever.
Yep, because there's a lot of people there at home, and there's not much to do, so they just sat there and built armies.
Exactly. There's not much to do. They found a new hobby they wanted to get into, and you can't really go out and play it, but that's fine, because you had to build and paint your army to begin with first, and you could do that at home. So a lot of people did. Oh, and also Tabletop Simulator also did that quite a bit. But so a lot of people got into the hobby in 2020, and it shows here that it was one of their most profitable years ever.
To be fair, they also had they're doing a lot of range refreshes at that time as well.
Yes, as well. Adeptus Sororitas got an entire new line. Necrons,
which looks fantastic.
Necrons got a huge flood. They did 9th edition with a big trailer that got millions of views, a bunch of new Necrons. So a lot of stuff was happening for Games Workshop, not just from COVID. And yes, Games Workshop was hit by COVID. Like, there was a lot of models that they couldn't sell because factories were shutting down. And
which is fair.
Which is fair. They were absolutely hit by COVID. They didn't only benefit, but I just want to preface that it was one of their most beneficial years. So going into 2021, there was no fucking way they could top 2020 again. So it was normal, and they state that here that they figured they were not going to make as much money in 2020 or in 2021 as they did in 2020 because 2020 was just a fantastic year. And they didn't. They predicted they would drop by at most 10%. Do you want to know how much they dropped in
25.
profit? Lower.
As in more?
More.
I'm going to guess 40%?
Too much. 33.
33%? That's
dropped
1/3.
They dropped 1/3 of all profits.
Big.
The total amount of profit they made in 2020, it was dropped 33% in 2021. And they talk about why that happened and everything here. And they talk about a couple of different reasons that are, one, interesting. Some of them flat out bullshit, and they're just covering their asses. And the other ones, okay, sure, you could kind of see them. So,
I want to know some of these.
Here's, and I'll talk about them. I've already mentioned Australia a little bit. So in the report here, I don't know where it is exactly, but in the report here, they mention Australia. I'll see if I can find it here.
They specifically mention Australia, which is fucking hilarious.
They specifically mention Australia.
These fucking people.
Here we go. Okay, so growth. Even so, I am delighted to report that we continue to perform well in most countries, the exception being Australia. It's right there.
Australia gets called out.
Australia's like, you fucks down under aren't buying enough of our models. But the hilarious thing is they say, this is what they say, continuing from that, the ongoing COVID-19 restrictions there have kept our stores closed, something I know that has frustrated our passionate store managers. The team is ready to bounce back as soon as they get the chance. The performance of our core product range remains in line with our exciting operating plans. See below for more details. And then it goes into growth continuing and everything. But when you look at the graph of sales, which is also public knowledge, when you look at the graph of sales in strictly Australia, yes, in-store sales are down, but their online sales, which you don't need an in-store for, you can just do that online, are down the exact same amount. If it was strictly just because of the ongoing COVID restrictions keeping your stores closed, your online sales wouldn't also be down.
They'll be down a little bit.
They'd be down
but not
a little bit.
That much.
But it would not, your stores being closed is not the reason your sales are dropping. The reason your sales are dropping, Games Workshop, is because the price of your models in Australia is garbage. Here in Canada, for most models, it depends. It changes based on what army you're playing, which is dumb, but whatever. If you buy 5 models, like let's say 5 Primaris Marines, because that's the example we're going to use here. If you buy 5 Primaris Intercessors, here in Canada, they're about $40, I think, somewhere around there, maybe 35.
I'm on it.
Double check. They're somewhere around that neighborhood. Now, in Australia, in Australian dollars, they are 110 Australian dollars. Converted into Canadian dollars, that is about 80 Canadian dollars. They are double the fucking price in Australia. And they say, oh yeah, it's because our stores, our in-person stores are closed. That's why our profits are dipped. No, it's because nobody can buy your fucking miniatures in Australia. Your prices are so fucking outrageous that no one can buy them. No one's getting into the hobby there because they're like, my fucking Australian dollars are not worth these 5 plastic fucking models. It's dumb as shit. What'd you find over there?
So 10 Primaris Intercessors is $70.
Here in Canada?
Yes.
Okay, so $70 for 10 models. Already, that's steep.
That's pretty awful.
It's pretty awful, but that's just how Games Workshop
$7 a model.
Things. Yeah, but that's just how Games Workshop does their thing. So it's like, as awful it is, we know it's awful. We've known it's awful for years. So, okay, yeah, so let's see. Let's go to the Australian store and take a look-see here. Or are you already doing that?
No, I'm looking at heavy intercessors.
Oh, okay.
For my own.
AC Games.
And then heavy intercessors are 75 for 5. Oof.
It's just gross. It's just so dumb.
And that's why those Battle Force boxes are such a steal.
Ironically, Battle Force boxes did not sell well for Games Workshop.
This year.
They did not sell well. A lot of boxes that Games Workshop did recently did not sell well. Their Black Templar box, they've considered a fail. It did not sell well at all.
There was no reason to get it.
It was dumb. Like, for the models you got, like, the only reason to get the Black Templar box was just so you got models earlier than everybody else, and because you had a cool artwork codex. But in terms of the actual models that were in there, for the price, $200 fucking dollars for like 12 models. It's like, no! It was absolute fucking ludicrous. Canadian dollars. I don't know what the Australian dollar is called.
AUS.
Fucking, maybe. All right, okay, so Canadian dollars, what did you say? It was $80 or something?
It was $70 for a pack of 10 of intercessors.
The Australian dollar is not that far off Canadian. So it's $110 for that interstellar.
Intercessor.
And for those intercessor packs, that's 10 models, right? Mm-hmm. It's priced at 110 Australian dollars. So I was wrong on that. So Canadian dollar, 70 Canadian dollars, and Australian dollars is 77. Okay. So Australian dollar, that pack for $110, that's 99 Canadian dollars for those 10 models.
$10 a model. That's worse.
$10 a model.
That's worse than flayed ones.
Oh yeah, fucking flayed ones. That's a joke on its own. Flayed ones pricing. That's just dumb.
Like, and the worst thing is, I'd love to run them, but they're so fucking expensive.
So, So that's just a hilarious thing. They're like, oh yeah, I'm delighted to report we continue to perform well in most countries, the exception being Australia. Well, maybe if your prices weren't so fucking high in Australia, people would be getting into your hobby. But,
You need to be like the prince of a a small country in order to get into this game.
It's so fucking dumb. And, I mean, this is not, I mean, this is reflected in the report, but something I've just come to realize, because I saw a couple of people say this on Reddit, and I can't fucking disagree with them. The Games Workshop doesn't see their hobby and their everything as like an everybody's hobby. They see it as a, what's the term they used for it? Like, it was like an exquisite hobby. Oh, there was a term a Redditor used.
Collector's hobby?
No, they a luxury. They said that playing Warhammer is not a hobby anyone can get to. Games Workshop wants to market it as a luxury hobby. Ugh. That's why their prices are so high. And honestly, I fucking believe that.
Oh yeah.
Games
easy.
Workshop has no interest in getting new people into the hobby because it's so expensive. They want to market it as a luxury hobby. Their prices for their models are based off the points they cost in game. It's plastic. The plastic, one model, that chaplain on, I bought a chaplain on bike recently for the Blood Angels list that I made. But that chaplain on bike is 55 Canadian dollars before taxes and everything. It is one sprue of plastic. It does not, we wonder why Games Workshop's profit margin is so fucking high.
Yep.
That one plastic sprue costs nowhere fucking near that amount to produce.
Nope, absolutely not. And that's the thing of why a lot of people, they choose 3D printing. And if they want to go for it,
I'm this
go
close.
for it.
I'm this close.
Yep.
Because that's a whole other thing I want to get into is that I don't want to proxy. I like playing with the actual models for the IP. I like the models. I love how they look. I want to play them. But damn, does Games Workshop really make it compelling for me to just buy a 3D printer and proxy some resin models? Because damn, it will save me so much fucking money. And like, granted, I'm already in the hobby. I already have a bunch of models. I'm not fucking poor and struggling to like, I don't look at a model and go, damn, I really wish I could buy that like intercept, like for bigger models like Be'lakor. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a big financial commitment.
Good old Be'lakor.
Yeah, but like the average small model, like a Chaos Sorcerer or something that's like $35, yeah, I can get that. I'm not going to worry about being able to purchase that. But for a kid, for like who wants to get into the hobby or something, and like they only have like their allowance money. No, it's such a far gone conclusion to ever expect that to happen.
And that's why we never got into it. At least I never did.
But that's the thing. When we were at Anything and Everything, when I can't remember that guy's name, but that came from Edmonton to introduce Warhammer to everybody. Do you remember his name?
Absolutely not.
No, but you know who I'm talking about. So
I met him like
he was a big guy. He had orange hair. I can't remember his name, but he was the one that introduced Warhammer to us, and he came from Edmonton, and he tried to get everybody into Warhammer, and it worked. And Tim was somewhat like hesitant on doing it, and I'll get to that in a moment.
Which is fair.
Which is absolutely fair, because damn, we're talking about our local our local game store from back when we lived in Whitecourt. It was called Anything and Everything. Also technically a little big for it, but I'm going to call it Anything and Everything from this point forward. So we primarily played Magic, well, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, eventually just Magic there.
Yeah.
And he also sold Magic, and he was a very friendly person. I'm talking about like past tense, he still exists. But he's an incredibly friendly person. His wife Patsy is wonderful, and we went there all the time, and we played Magic there, and a guy showed up, and he introduced Warhammer to everybody, and damn, it looked awesome, it played awesome. All of us were very much into it, we all wanted to play, but none of us could, because even back then the models were expensive.
And they were also just, for people that weren't able to drive all that distance constantly, it was too far out of the way.
Yeah. And like at the time we got introduced to Warhammer, like none of us were driving. We were all still taking the bus to school and everything. So it's just, you know, playing Magic was much easier. You had your cards, you made a deck, and boom, you could put that in your backpack. You're solid, ready to go.
Yep.
Warhammer, whoa, like no, you got to get a bunch of models, then you have to keep those models, you know, in foam boxes and everything, and make sure they're all contained and safe in a nice travel case and everything. And they're also expensive for people who are not working. It's completely
also have
no
no artistic skill whatsoever.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You don't buy them and they come out built, painted, ready to go out of the box. No, they come disassembled. And that's the whole thing. When you get into Games Workshop's, you know, ecosystem and you start to play Warhammer, you don't just buy the models. You buy the model, great. You now now have a sprue of plastic. Guess what? You need clippers now to clip that stuff out of the plastic. Great. Now you need glue to put that plastic together. Great. Now you need primer. Great. Now you need paint. And then you have a model done. Great. Now do you want to play it? Awesome. Now you need the rule book. Now you need your codex. Now you need dice. Now you need someone to play against who also has all of that. It's just such a fucking step-by-step process, and it is so hard to get into. And I don't, anybody who's like, I would love to get into Warhammer, but damn, is it a process? I so sympathize with them, because unless you're already in it, wow, is it difficult to get in looking from the outside. It's incredibly difficult. So, but anyways, I don't know how we go. So I remember this talk from Tim, because I went to Edmonton with my mom, and I was just gifted $100 from my grandma for Christmas or something, and she said I could buy whatever I wanted with it. She didn't expect me to buy the Start Collecting box for Chaos back then, which was a Rhino and 10 Marines, and that was it. So that was the Start Collecting box. 10 Marines and a Rhino, that was it. And I knew it was sprues, and it was I have to get snippers and all that stuff, but that was fine. The $100, it was exactly $100 for the box. So I was like, perfect, this is what I'm gonna get. And my mom told me my grandma would be so disappointed in me, but I was...
And you were like...
I was like, here's the thing though. Grandma said I could buy whatever I want.
This is what I want.
This is what I want, and my mom couldn't argue with that. So.
Well, no.
But so I bought it, and eventually I built them all at Tim's, because Tim had hobby sprues and everything. So I just built and glued them all at Tim's place, and then I would.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, and then
I think I remember that.
And then Tim had a painting competition for those who wanted to do some, and Tim supplied a couple of models that he had ordered and everything to sell from store. They didn't sell, and I'll get to that. But he opened them himself and built them, and he said, if anyone wants to paint them, here's some paints and everything. We can do a painting competition. And I did that. I painted up a little banner band with a Chaos model and everything. I didn't win. I can't remember who won, but someone there painted something fucking outstandingly well. I can't remember who it was, but all props to them. But I was very proud of my little painted guy.
Your little banner boy.
My little banner boy. I look at him now. I haven't retouched him. Wow, is he awful? But he was my first ever model painted.
You still have him?
I still have him, but I don't want to repaint him, because he's the first model I ever painted.
You never ever repaint the first one.
Yeah, and that I'm proud of my little Chaos banner, man. You never repaint your first model, but you don't even remember what your first model was.
It's one of the Fire Warriors.
It's some Fire Warrior. I know it is a Fire Warrior, because you show me how proud you were when you painted his little fucking banner or little thing coming off him red from his sword or something.
that was a Pathfinder.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember how proud you were. Just like, look, I got it red, and I was like, nice. But
it looked good.
It does look good. I have no problem with it. But I just remember that was one of the first models you painted, because you were very proud of like the red little thing there. I mentally checked out. Has it just been Warhammer the entire time? Yes. Sorry, my apologies. We're going to talk a lot about Warhammer. I'm sorry.
We're excited, damn it.
We're excited.
We're going on the tangent.
We're excited. We're going on the tangent. It's okay if you guys check out. I understand. It's okay. I understand. Anyway, so I was one of the only kids at anything and everything that actually had models to play with, because and it's only because I was gifted that $100 from my grandmother in order to buy those models. Nobody else could really get into it, because nobody else had a job or an income or parents that wanted to pay you to get those kinds of models. And I remember asking Tim if he would ever consider like selling Warhammer models at anything and everything, because the only way to get them right now would be to go to the Games Workshop store in the mall in Edmonton, which is where I went. And he said he ordered 2 of those like regular Space Marine kits, and he'd opened one for that painting competition. But he told me flat out, you know what? I'm probably never going to order them, because the vast majority of kids that people come to my store are kids whose parents drop them off before they go to work, or people who come here after school who have like a $5 or something to buy packets of magic.
Yep. That's exactly it.
He told me flat out, if I order more Warhammer stuff, it will sit on my shelf for years.
Oh, legitimately it would have.
I was upset about that, because there was very few times that I was ever going to go to Edmonton and get more models with my money. But looking back on it right now, he's 100% correct.
Oh, they would have stayed there for literal eons.
If he ordered models back then, I guarantee you we could walk into his store today and they would still be on that shelf.
Yep.
Guaranteed. Because just the vast majority of the people that went into his store were not adults with money. They were kids.
That was not the demographic that he really brought in.
Yeah. So Tim knows what demographic, and he knows, like, if I order this, I will get a return on my investment, because it will sell. Games Workshop products, it would just be lost money. So.
Which may have changed later as, we got older, but at the same time...
But even so, when we got older, we
left.
So
that's the thing, is like, there's some people that stuck around, but even if they did, they weren't getting into Warhammer, because the community wasn't there.
It wasn't there. The one guy from Edmonton tried to start it, and it started somewhat. Like, Kendall was really into Tau. You were into Necrons, and I was into Chaos. And there was a start there, but it couldn't develop primarily because we were too young and we didn't have jobs of our own and an income of our own.
And it was also very difficult to play.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like 6th edition or something?
It was 5th edition back then.
5th.
So, yeah, 5th edition was incredibly difficult to play, and the rules were very, very confusing.
Convoluted, yeah.
So, for young people, like, it wasn't impossible, but it was just, compared to, like, 8th edition, it was
Or compared to just playing Magic.
Or just compared to playing Magic. Magic, you sit down with some cards, you learn it, you're good to go. And Magic cards,
they don't change.
They don't change. The rules to play them don't change. Reading the card explains the card. Very rarely. Now, there are a couple of cards where reading the card doesn't explain it anymore because there's erratas, but back then, there wasn't. You read the card, that's how it works. You play it, done, good to go. Model, you need the codex, you need the core rules. Oh, there was an errata change, you got to look at the FAQs.
And Battlescribe didn't exist.
Oh yeah, Battlescribe didn't do that, so everyone had to roll around with the codex and everything.
And they had to calculate their points manually.
Yeah. So, that was just...
I am so thankful for Battlescribe.
Battlescribe is wonderful. The Warhammer app has its faults, but you know what it has that Battlescribe doesn't? The day FAQs or points changes come out, they automatically get updated on my app. I don't have to wait for whoever the developer is on Battlescribe to get them and then put them in. They're automatically on the app. That is something I do like about the official app, is that those are there right off the hop. It has its own faults, but that's nice. Also, Battlescribe, it's just me. I know it's just me, but man, Battlescribe gives me nothing but hate.
Especially on the computer.
The computer version is just, it fucking breaks all the time. It's so annoying. I don't use the app one that often.
I love the app one.
I find it so goddamn complicated. I will say making lists on the official Warhammer app is so fucking easy. They've made it very easy. It's nowhere near as customizable, and you don't have as many drop-down menus, but after some finagling, it's very easy to do. So I'm happy with the Warhammer app so far. Getting back to Twitch chat here, Daydream Fantasies. This makes me want to play Warhammer, but like you said, the gate is so high. It's, but that's the best. I will say this about the Warhammer community though, is that I've never seen, like personally me, ever seen a gatekeeper for Warhammer 40K.
No.
Like every person who talked about Warhammer 40K is always like, they love the game. The company, not so much, but the game itself is so fun.
And they can be so, like, helpful and then so encouraging to do things. Like, even if our chat here, like, there's a little chat for Warhammer Local, and everyone in there is, for the most part, there is a couple people.
I'm not active in it anywhere near as much as you are, so...
Well, there's just the one thing I had with the one guy, the one game where things didn't really add up. That's an entire different thing, and I don't want to.
That's not a subject for this podcast.
No,
what's done is done.
So for the most part, everyone's in there to just have a good time and encourage people to, get out of their comfort zone when it comes to painting, or encourage them to paint.
There's that new guy that joined up that has Tau that he's painting. I see nothing but comments about his Tau painting stuff. Is just fantastic.
And him just being like, oh yeah, I'm so excited about this. And it's like, that is exactly what the hobby is. It's like, everyone is encouraging others. And for the most part, people, when they're playing each other, be like, oh man, I did this one stupid thing. Do you mind if I just go back? And it's like, oh yeah, you totally would have done that.
Yeah. It's like, if you remembered it, you would have done it. So I'm fine with you doing it now. Fuck it.
Yeah, because there's so much with the rules nowadays that there's still a lot of rules. It's definitely a lot more streamlined than it used to be. But you're gonna forget things. It's gonna happen. You're gonna move something to somewhere else and be like, man, that wasn't the right spot.
You're gonna move something 6 inches and then realize, oh wait, no, it has a 12-inch movement. I do that all the time with my rhinos. I keep forgetting they have 12 inches of movement. Fuck me. But anyways, it's just it happens. You will forget rules and everything. But genuinely, I haven't met anyone who's
been like extremely hard-ass.
Extremely hard-ass. I've met people who I've had like, I wouldn't say
heads.
I wouldn't say headbutting exactly, but I've met people who are less desirable to play against, but they weren't like, I didn't hate playing against them. But like, if I was given the option, it was like, would you like to play another game? I would say no. Just because, they weren't enjoyable to play against, but they didn't make me feel like shit for playing my army or anything. They were just not fun opponents, but that's besides the point. In terms of actually getting into the hobby, the vast majority of people are like, hell yeah, let me help you. Let's figure this out. And let's,
What kind of army you're going to play,
yeah,
huh?
yeah,
Who do you like? What kind of lore?
yeah,
What kind of game?
look at all these models, look at all these artworks and everything.
What speaks to you?
What do you like? I don't give a shit if the army's dog shit. What do you like? And just, go from there. So everyone's been genuinely, very welcoming on people getting into it. Games Workshop, however,
It's not.
it's not, because they see their game as a luxury game, not a fun hobby to get into.
A way to get around that for basically anybody who wants to like try the game out is one, tabletop simulator,
which still does cost money, but
it's like
nowhere
way
near
less.
Nowhere near the amount of
and you
10
can play
Marines.
immediately.
Yes.
Because you don't actually have to. You just need to find the models for your army,
or even which can be difficult sometimes depending on the army, but most of the popular armies you can find close enough.
Yeah, and you can proxy whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And Wahapedia.
Oh yeah,
Wahapedia has everything you could possibly want, like for data sheets, for stratagems, for
relics,
creating an army.
Yeah.
Like it has everything you need, and Battlescribe is also free.
Yeah, and Battlescribe's free. I will say, I struggle with Battlescribe all the time, as I've mentioned, but I'm sure it's just something to do with me, because Jackson loves Battlescribe. Jackson never has any problems with Battlescribe.
Nope.
I constantly fight with Battlescribe, which is why I use the official app when I'm building my armies instead, because the official app has never given me any problems. And
except for the pack that it's paid.
Well, but again, I'm paying for Warhammerplus. It's included in my Warhammerplus account, so I might as well use it.
That's fair.
So, oh man. Okay, moving right along. I don't know what we were talking about initially when it comes to this, but damn, I need to talk about Warhammerplus now, because Warhammerplus is in this report. Holy shit. Okay.
Please tell me it's been a giant failure.
So here's the thing.
Please tell me.
Last time we did this stream, I talked about how I had never seen any promotional material for Warhammerplus. I'd never seen any advertisements or anything. The only time I ever heard about Warhammerplus was when I was already on Warhammer Community and they were talking about it there. And I flat out said, if Games Workshop wants Warhammerplus to be successful, they want it to be like the next big streaming platform for Warhammer animations, and they took all these animators and they're paying them a large amount of money to do these animations and promote them, they need to promote the actual platform itself. Because if nobody knows it exists, it won't make any money. It can't just exist in this bubble that you occasionally talk about on your own webpage. It won't succeed. It needs to be marketed. And now I have the answer to that question. Why is it not marketed? Why is there no advertising for it? They don't want to advertise it. Let me read you
Interesting.
Let me read you a quote here from
First of many quotes.
First of many quotes. Okay, well, let's read this here. It's in their growth section, which I found fucking hilarious.
Oh, that oof.
It's okay. Somewhere in here they talk about their growth, and it blows my mind that this is in here. Okay, it's somewhere. Oh nope. Okay, it's somewhere in here. It's somewhere in here. I swear. Here we go. Okay. Growth / community. With something for every Warhammer fan, our brand new subscription service, Warhammerplus, got off to a great start. In particular...
Great start.
Get ready. In particular, our animation and in-house shows have been extremely popular, with 2 million views in total across all shows in just 3 months. I'm going to stop there.
In 3 months.
2 million views in 3 months. That sounds like a lot.
No.
Mini Wargaming makes 2 million views in 3 months on their YouTube channel, which is free. Dice Check makes just under 2 million views on their YouTube channel in 3 months, which is free. Adeptus Ridiculous makes 2 million views in 2 months on their free YouTube channel. Play on Tabletop makes 2 million views in a month and a half on their free YouTube channel. Bricky's channel makes 2 million views in 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
He's a singular YouTuber with less than 1 million subs, putting out free content once a week or two, and he makes 2.2 million views per month. They are priding themselves on a paid subscription service that made 2 million views in 3 months. For a massive billion-dollar company, that is bad.
Pathetic.
It is awful. 2 million views sounds great in 3 months. But there are channels that are just over 100,000 subs on YouTube that are... There's a channel I love called Discourse Miniatures. Oh, her and I have the same mindset on Games Workshop. Man, we dunk on them all the time for good reason. She has 120,000 subs. She makes 800,000 views in 3 months. She's making almost 1 million views in 3 months, and she has just over 100,000 subs. This is sad. This is depressing. But the thing is, this is something I'll get into later, but let me continue this quote. So anyways, so with 2 million views in total across all shows, all 2 shows, excluding Lore Masters and their painting supplies, they're 2 animations. That's it. We view, here's the real kicker. Oh, no. This answers my question. Quote verbatim, we view Warhammerplus as a club for our most loyal fans, and will look to extend the ways in which we deliver them even more exclusive content and reward them with exciting new product and service offers. They're not trying to promote this to new people. This Warhammerplus is not for...
It's supposed to be elite, quote unquote.
It's a club for loyal fans. Oh, it is not...
That is so ridiculous.
It's
that is so
unfathomably stupid.
What? That's so condescending. Like they're literally.
And it ties in perfectly with what that Redditor said earlier. The game and the hobby is the Games Workshop wants to promote it as a luxury hobby. It is not for new people. It's a luxury hobby, and that's verbatim,
that's the elite club.
Verbatim, Warhammerplus is for their most loyal fans. It's not meant to promote to new people. That's why there's no marketing for it.
That's so out of touch.
It's so dumb. It's so unbelievably stupid. I
wish
I was making this up, but it is word for word in their own fucking financial report.
That is insanity. Like, they're so out of touch, it's insane.
Could you imagine if Netflix came out and said, it's not for new people, it's for our most loyal film watchers. It's for people who love TV and our most loyal TV watchers. You'd fucking go broke in 2 minutes. It's such a dumb statement to make, but that's absolutely what they're doing with Warhammerplus. They went to YouTube and they removed all that free advertising that cost them fuck all. It costs them nothing. Just to be a little lenient with their IP is all it costs them to get all these people into... The re-upload of Astartes, all 5 parts, has 10 million views in less than a year, and they're proud of 2 million views in 3 months. Astartes alone has 10 million in less than a year. And re-upload, not even the original.
The original probably has it had like 20 million.
It had like 20 million across all its parts. It's unfathomable. And then you had people reacting to the parts, just boosting it, people getting into it, not knowing what it was because their favorite YouTuber made a reaction to this and they're like, I don't know what this, and they go watch the original as well. It was nothing but free advertising. But that's the thing, is that I didn't understand why they took that all away. It's because they don't want to advertise. They want an exclusive club for their most loyal fans. And that's what they achieved with Warhammerplus, and that's why there's no marketing for it, and that's why there will never be any marketing for it. It's for their loyal fans.
I guess it saves marketing money.
What marketing money? There is none. They're not marketing this.
That's the point.
Games Workshop, they don't want new people coming into this hobby. They have people in their hobby and they want to shut the doors and keep them in. The problem is everybody in that hobby is like, but I can leave whenever I want. I can buy a 3D printer. I can just download free PDFs online for the codexes. I can do all this stuff and leave. And Games Workshop can't keep them shut in. The only thing to do is enforce their IP, but guess what? That just makes holes in the door that people can see out and go, it's better out there.
See, the thing about that is that they can play the game without having interact with GW at all, but GW sees it as if you don't have our stuff, you can't play in our tournaments, which, for the most part, people aren't doing.
Yeah, I have. I've played in one Games Workshop. Well, no, not. I've played in one Warhammer tournament. It wasn't sanctioned by Games Workshop, but it was like an official. Well, sorry.
ITC.
It was an ITC-ISK, Amiable Bright. Yep. It was an ITC-ISK tournament where you played by the rules. It wasn't sanctioned by Games Workshop or anything, but it was like, a proper tournament. And I'd never been to a tournament, and I decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'll try. I have an army. Let's paint it up. Let's go into a tournament, because I'd only ever done like friendly casual games.
Yep.
And I'm glad I went. I'm glad I experienced it. I would really struggle to go to something like that again.
Yeah.
Because...
Especially if it was as try hard as the GW ones are, where you can't have proxy models.
Yeah, you can't have proxy models. You can't have. You can't even have, not even 3D models. You can't have 3D parts on your models.
Like nothing.
You bought the model. You paid Games Workshop the money. All you did, you replaced the shoulder pad with a 3D printed shoulder pad because you like that better. Nope, disqualified. Can't play it. You already paid for the model. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like they're so out of touch. Like they with that. Most of the people aren't going to those events.
No!
They're not doing all of that. They literally, if they wanted to 3D print an entire army and do it that way, the only thing that's stopping them is doing it.
That's it. Yeah. The only thing stopping them is like the high price of getting a 3D printer, which, yes, 3D printers are expensive, but they're constantly getting cheaper.
Yep.
Like, better models and more efficient models are getting cheaper. Resin and filament is only getting cheaper. And, like, you could print out a fucking squad of models for the equivalent of, like, $2 worth of filament or even, like, $5 worth of resin. The only thing it costs is, like, the upfront money for the printer and time, because it takes a while. But after that, you'll hold it up to someone who's never really played with Games Workshop models, and you go, "Can you tell the difference?" No, fucking difference.
I played with Peter like a couple days ago, or on Friday, and he had a couple Contemptor Dreadnoughts that were 3D printed, and I looked, and it's like, no, I couldn't tell. I didn't look like super close, but you don't need to.
You don't need to. So it's so dumb. But anyway, so yeah. That answers my question of why I don't see Warhammerplus advertisements or anything, and why they're not advertising it.
It's supposed to be exclusive.
It's the quote club for our most loyal fans, and they're going to look at ways to deliver more exclusive content and reward them with exciting new products and services for the most loyal fans, not for new fans, only the loyal fans, the ones who give us $10 a month.
That's such a bad way of putting that. There's so many better ways they could have put that wasn't so disconnected and condescending.
Like, there's a lot of things in this report that are just, honestly, flat-out bullshit lies. But wow, they are full honest with what Warhammerplus is. They didn't try to hide that at all. Like, our sales are down in Australia. They tried to hide that behind, it's because our in-person stores are closed. No, it's because your fucking market for Australian models is so dumb. It's double what it is in Canadian dollars. It's so stupid. That's why your sales are down. But this one, man, they were just flat out like, yeah, nope, it's our exclusive club. So...
How does it feel to be part of the exclusive club?
It feels great, let me tell you. I'm sipping champagne Chardonnay with my little pockets of cheese and fucking sausage rolls while I watch Angels of Death and Hammer and Bolter on repeat, because that's all that's... Oh, no, sorry, and the original Astartes, which I could watch on YouTube for free, but I like to watch it on Warhammerplus, where I can't speed up the video either.
Oh yeah, you're one of those people.
Yeah, so...
Fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Okay. We're harping a lot on Warhammer in this. Anyways, sorry, Mom called. I'm here. No worries, Ashley. If you check out, it's totally understand. This is probably going to be most of the stream is just going to be talking about Warhammer because damn, I'm angry. But
yeah,
my question is, how the fuck do I start? Is there a starter set I can get? Yes. It's expensive, but yes. Depending on what army you can get, most of them either, if they don't have their 9th edition codex, they have the Start Collecting box. If they have their 9th edition codex, they have their Combat Patrol box. So if you go to a Games Workshop store, which by the way is getting a refresh, they're remaking the whole store. That's talked about in this report.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they don't
the online store or like just in general?
They don't really go into full details about it. They just mention that it's happening. Oh yeah, as noted above, our customers have a lot of options when it comes to shopping for Warhammer online and are able to buy our products both through our own web store, report and online, and through those independent retailers. Oh, Asia. I'll get to that. Where is it in here? By the way, for everybody listening on the podcast, if you want to see me actually, visually get angry, be sure to check out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Wings and Riffs podcast.
Gotta quickly plug that in right there.
Quickly plug that in while I look around for the report on the. Oh yeah, okay. No. Oh, that's not it. God damn it. Oh, okay. Now that I found this is hilarious. Whoever wrote this has something's funny going on with whoever wrote this. So the person that wrote this is from senior management, upper senior management in Games Workshops where this came out. And this is under risk and uncertainties. It's one line separated from everything else here. Our biggest risk is senior management becoming complacent. I will continue to do my best to make sure it does not happen. This person's in senior management. So either They're talking about themselves being like, our biggest risk is that I become complacent. I'll make sure I don't happen. Or they're talking about somebody else. They're like,
they're literally already complacent.
they're already there. But like, it's hilarious that they put it under risk and risk and uncertainties. That they're like, our biggest risk out of everything here, our biggest risk is senior management, which I'm a part of, becoming complacent. So they're either talking about the whole management themselves, or they're like, Dave and senior management is slacking. I'll make sure he doesn't. I don't know what they mean. It's just one random line in the document, but it's like,
dumb.
Okay, that's interesting. You're part of senior management, so that's a real interesting thing to read there. But okay, so that was kind of funny.
Yeah. So Hell's Breach says, I found a starter set with the rules, some terrain, and 2 push-fit armies for $165 USD. That is probably the Command Edition, I would imagine.
I forgot about those 3 different boxes.
Yeah, so that's the one that has the Necrons and the Space Marines.
Yeah, and then actual plastic terrain, not the fucking fold-out cardboard box terrain.
Yeah.
So yeah, I forgot about those 3. Which, I mean, if you want to play Marines or Necrons, I think those great boxes. That's one of the rare opportunities where you're like, that's a great discount, because if you were to buy just the Necrons from that box, it's $5 cheaper. And you lose out on so much shit. You're like, what the fuck?
Well, no, that's like the half of it. That's like basically the Indominus box.
Oh, that's the big one. Okay.
I got.
Yeah, which is $55.
$65.
Sorry, $65.
But Warriors are 55.
And it's like, okay, so I could buy Warriors for 55, which is 10 models, or I could buy the Recoup box, which is those same 10 Warriors, plus an Overlord, terrain, Marines, and a Primaris captain, and rulers and dice. For $15? Absolutely.
Yeah, because if you have somebody that wants to go play, if you want to play Marines and someone else is like, oh yeah, I'll play Necrons.
That is a fantastic
That is a damn good ears.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So, Jackson, do you have a wire on your back or something? I don't? No?
No.
I don't know what she's talking about. But, damn, Jackson, just fuck our ears then. Oh, or you maybe gotten a little too loud for the microphone? Oh, well, I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry about that. We're trying out new things, so
yes.
For people listening on the podcast earlier, if your ears just got blown out, it's because post Torsten did not do a good job editing this. So I'm sorry, I'll try to do it. Every time you scratch your back, it goes all weird.
Oh.
Well, it's probably just because, like, for a demonstration, it's probably just because, like, the shirt ruffles or something, and then it just transfers into the microphone.
Yep.
So, my apologies. We're testing things. Anyway, so there are starter sets per army. Sorry, Mom called. I'm here. No worries. Feel bad for the people who are pushed to sell it too. I've bought a lot of stuff recently that people were just selling because, well, one guy sold it because he just didn't play the army anymore and he was more into Eldar.
I bought some Necrons off a guy who was just getting out of it.
Oh, okay. There was that as well. And yeah. But that's the other thing, though, is that if you do end up selling it, at least you'll get a good price for it because it's Games Workshop models. They just demand a premium just because. Are they worth that just on their own? No, but it's Games Workshop models, and you want to make some kind of a return on what you paid for them. So it is what it is. Like, couldn't hear what you were actually saying, and it sounded like the adults and the peanuts like wah 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 wah. Oh, that's weird. I'm not sure why that was. Well, I will be able to listen to it when we actually do the recording back. I don't know. I'm sorry. We're not monitoring them this time. We'll figure that out. Again, testing new shit.
As we do.
Yeah. I don't know where it was in here, but I can't find it. But they talked about how they were starting up they were going to redo the online store.
Which sounds interesting, I guess.
It sounds interesting. I just can't find where it is in here. Oh yeah, this is the part. This is the same thing, but this is how they were talking about under entertainment. We have made some solid progress in our writers' room and have a number of further exciting live action and animated projects in development. We remain ambitious and patient. We continue to search for the right long-term parties to exploit other IP opportunities. We have some further exciting plans in development, including live action film adaptations for Eisenhower. So, interesting things there. Well, I can't find where it is in here. It's in here that they're redoing the online store this year sometime. That's one of their things they were looking at. Can't find where it is in here. But it is. Here's the funny thing. So, they're not doing so well in Asia right now in terms of sales.
Not surprising.
Not surprising. It's just the Asia market has been very, very hard to get into Warhammer. They've stated in here.
Yeah.
They say, we continue to make some good progress. This is directly for Asia in terms of profit. Hampered a little by the process of toy safety certification. It's not a little, it's quite a lot. We had our first external audit, which was passed. Various delays have resulted in a decision to move our new release schedule by a couple weeks to allow us to catch up. Not great for our customers in Asia. However, without the accreditation, our long-term growth would be threatened by legal restrictions. The new work on the new Warhammer Cafe store in Shanghai has also been pragmatically paused to ensure it gets off to the best possible start. They're having a lot of trouble in Asia. Here's the best part, though. How do they plan to combat that? We will in the period increase our we have in the period and plan to increase our profits by circa 25%, aligning with our global pricing strategy.
Oh, no.
They're not doing well in Asia. What's their answer? We'll increase our prices by 25%. We're not making any money. How do we fix that? Make the prices up by 25%. Bingo! That's how we make more money. You increase the prices by 25%. If they're not already buying the models, they're not going to buy them when they go up by 25%. You absolute fucking brain dead people.
See, again, we're going back to a company that is extremely disconnected from its fan base.
It's unbelievably disconnected. And like so many times in here, they talk about our community is wonderful. We're doing great. We're trying to increase profits and reward our loyal fan base and everything. They have no desire to broaden and get more people in, but only to squeeze as much as they can from the people that are already in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going well. Again, it's dropped by 33% this year. Yes, they were at an all-time high in 2020 for profit, but it dropped in 2021 by 33%. I don't see it going up again in 2022. It maybe will stable out at that 33% drop, but I don't see it going back up. Especially with this is their plans going forward. Yep. In Asia, 25% increase. Australia, the only problem is that our in-person stores are closed. That's the only issue.
They're living in so much denial. It's absolutely incredible.
It's
like
boggles.
They can't, for the life of them, look from the outside in.
No, they're only interested in this is the customers we have. Squeeze them for all they got, but they have no idea what happens when they squeeze them so much. And we've already started to see that. Mm-hmm. They've squeezed so hard. Australia went, fuck that, mate. We're done. And that's dropping. Asia, when this 25% profit increase is done, they're already having a hard time there. They're going to say, as soon as, like, oh, you're not buying the models, profits went up, or we're going to increase them by 25%. What? It's only going to go worse. And it's only a matter of time before they squeeze them so much that there's just going to be a thin sliver of a noodle that's just going to slip out and they're going to go, fuck, we need to grab more. You had opportunities. Your biggest opportunity to grab more was when Astartes and everything else was on YouTube. That was your opportunity to grab more, and you fucked it. Mm-hmm. You didn't even fuck it correctly. You could have fucked it correctly and made Warhammerplus and then marketed it. But no. It was an exclusive club for your most loyal fans. There is one good thing in here, which for you and I, there is one good thing.
Lay it on me, buddy.
There is one good thing for you and I, though. This will be, if you're on Patreon, you'll already know what we're talking about. But this is actually something that I am very interested in.
All right.
Key priority. So under community, key priorities. This is both hilarious considering what just happened to my Angels of Death video, but I think that's a different problem altogether. So, key priorities, community continued. Our customers really enjoy user-generated content. You think? They're not enjoying your content, so no fucking wonder they enjoy users-created content, you fucking idiots. But anyways, our customers really enjoy user-generated content, and as such, we are committed to supporting fans as they create their own Warhammer-related events, videos, articles, podcasts, etc. Probably not this podcast after they watch this episode. To this end, we are in the process of creating a community outreach team to work with and support creators and prominent community members who champion the Warhammer hobby outside of our own pages and spaces. We continue to look for more ways to surprise and delight our fans who work with this community outreach team. That holds merit and has promise, because this community outreach team will not be senior management. It will be its own team. They will have to take rules and everything from senior management, of course. But this, again, if you're part of the Patreon podcast, you know what I'm talking about. That holds merit, or not merit, but that holds very promise. Because this is another thing. Do you know about the current NDA contract for a lot of YouTubers in terms of Warhammer content?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so you know what an NDA contract is, right? Yeah, it's called non-disclosure act. It's basically if I'm a company and I send you a product that's not yet released yet, but I want you,
say shit.
You can't say shit about it, but I want you to use it, make a review for it. If I pay you, you can, and you say these certain things about it, but you can't tell anyone publicly about this product until this date. That's a non-disclosure act.
Yep.
And then that's why a lot of times when like a new iPhone comes out, on one day, suddenly you see YouTube is filled with reviews about this phone suddenly on the same day. It's because that's when that non-disclosure act ended, and everyone can release their videos. Yeah, the agreement is now over and everyone can release their videos. So Games Workshop has a non-disclosure act for Warhammer people on YouTube and live streams and such that you don't have to sign. And I recommend, if we get this contract for what we're planning to do, I'm not signing it. Because here's the thing. What they offer, we will send you exclusive miniatures up before release. That's it. So, like Indomitus, we could have got that early before release. Or like the Age of Sigmar battle boxes, we got that before release. You know, Necromunda stuff, we get that before release. We can use it, build it and everything. And then when it actually releases, we already have it and everything. We can make reviews about it and everything. That's also how like Mini Wargaming gets those codexes early. It's because they're in that part of that non-disclosure act where they can get everything early. So here's the thing though. Man, there are so many red flags in this non-disclosure act. It's not even funny. The biggest one, you can't say anything bad about Games Workshop, their models, or any of their IPs before, not even just because like they'll terminate the non-disclosure act. No, they will sue you if they deem, not if it's proven, but they deem you've harmed the product and their stores in any negative way. Oh, it gets better. If you say anything bad about it, they will sue you. And not only that, you have to pay for their the money that they put towards the lawyers and everything to sue you. So not only do you have to lawyer up if you want to, but you have to pay for your own lawyer and their lawyers and everything if you say anything bad about Games Workshop or their products or anything, or if they deem, not even prove, but they deem you've harmed Games Workshop and their products in any meaningful way. So this whole podcast I just did, if we're on that non-disclosure act, boy, we got to get some lawyers. We'd be fucked, that kind of thing. So you are, as soon as you sign, you get models early, great. You can't say a bad thing about them ever again. You can't, and if you film any content with anything outside of Games Workshop, but you use it in your games, can't do that. Has to be only Games Workshop models. So no filming with proxied models in your Warhammer games. Can't do that. It's got to be all the same models and everything. And it's just, it's unbelievably predatory, and it's such small fine print that like brand new YouTubers and everything, and they send these out early. Like they send these to people who are just getting started, and they're like, hey, we'll send you some product. You know what's the best thing? Midwinter Minis, I talk about them a lot. I don't know if you watch them all. He was part of this non-disclosure act. And when it came for renewal, he canceled it because the products he was getting, he would get them 2 days before they went to public release.
So
it's like, why am I part of this? Like, and the thing is, if he was living in America or something and it takes longer to ship from UK, okay, no, he's in Ireland. He's right there. He gets them 2 days beforehand. It's like, what am I supposed to do? It's a box of sprues. You want me to build this, paint it and everything and have a review video done by the time it goes live so I can have my review out early? It's not happening. And another, Brent, I can't remember what, Goobertown Hobbies, he was part of this non-disclosure act. And he got the Age of Sigmar box and he was like, great, I have sprues. Look at these new sprues. And then the publicly went out the next day. It's like, what am I supposed to do with all these, like, free product, great, early product, great. But I can't say anything bad about them. I have to go, yay, sprues, look at the sprues. I can't show anything else but Warhammer product in this video or I'm fucked. It's just, the real predatory thing is that, like, they threaten to sue if they think, Not even prove, just think you've harmed the product in any way, and that you have to pay for their lawyers and everything. Even, and the best part, I didn't mention this, even if you do lawyer up, you do go against them, and you do win, you still have to pay, even if you win. Like, I'm sorry, Games Workshop, your profit margin is 37%. You want me to pay for your lawyers, even when I win? Fuck off! It's, so, non-disclosure agreement, sorry, not act, agreement, thank you, Ashley, I appreciate it. But, so, yeah. So that's the current existing one. I certainly fucking hope what this community outreach team that they're creating for next year don't follow that same NDA, because this seems real exciting. The way it's worded is very exciting. They outright our customers really enjoy user-generated content, and we're committed
no shit, they do.
Yeah, no shit. And we're committed to supporting fans as they create their own Warhammer-related events, videos, articles, podcasts, and they want to promote them with this thing. This is fantastic. I would love for this to be as good as it seems. I'm very skeptical because this is Games Workshop, but I would love for this to be as good as it seems, and I would love to interact with this. Granted, we get big enough. I don't know what the requirements are or anything, but like I would love to be part of that. But if it's the same NDA just with a different coat of paint, I'm not signing, because this I can't talk about like
what you need, what is important.
What is important? I can't talk about like the very, very predatory practices and the huge heavy FOMO that Games Workshop relies on to sell their product. I can't do any of that. And if I'm this close to just buying a 3D printer and just printing models, because as much as I love the IP and I do want to play with the actual models for that game that I read about and I watch, I want to play with those models. But man, is it getting tough to support this company. And honestly, I fully believe Warhammer is big enough that it doesn't need Games Workshop to succeed. If Games Workshop just went out and said, you know what, 9th edition is the last edition, we're not going to support Warhammer anymore, I don't think it would die. I think it would flourish. I honestly think if they just went, you know, we're not going to...
Someone else would just make bootleg rules.
Yeah, or even you could you could just take old rules. Like if you want the best way to get into Warhammer, I fully believe, was 8th edition. 8th edition was so easy to get into in terms of like how to play the game. It was so streamlined. You didn't like secondaries, primaries, all that shit gone. You didn't have to worry about any of that. It was Slay the Warlord, First Blood, everything, and it was the same every game. It was so easy to remember and understand and get into. And like if you want to do that, I think that would be the best way to get people into the hobby. And then as they get comfortable with it, then be like, okay, now there's also secondaries, and slowly introduce them to that. But yeah, so anyways, there's a lot of other things in here. I think I went over like most of the main points I wanted to talk to about the fucking 25 profit increase in Asia. Just blows my mind. I can't believe this kind of shit. I still think that comment is like, our biggest risk is our own social upper management that I am a part of, that I'm writing this report. Like, okay.
Someone put a target on his back for that one.
That's interesting. I think there was one other part I wanted to talk about here, which is a very small part that I just couldn't believe. Oh yeah, okay. So key priorities, customer focus. The Age of Sigmar launch in July was our best fantasy launch to date by a considerable margin, because Age of Sigmar wasn't doing great beforehand. 3rd edition, of course. This saw us.
Yeah, 2nd edition was pretty bad.
Yeah. This saw us unveil the next chapter in the struggle for the Mortal Realms alongside some fantastic new miniatures. A lot of people did not like the new orc miniatures, so oh man, a lot of people didn't like them. They went from hilarious, funny, essentially like Warhammer 40k akin orcs that were just dumb brutes, but also funny, to like exceptionally grim dark orcs. Like all the humor was completely stripped away from them, and a lot of people didn't like that because they liked orcs being the funny guys that were also grimdark. They just went grimdark. They took away all the funny. So a lot of people were not happy about that. We spearhead the launch with a high-end animated trailer showcasing the Mortal Realms like never before. This was viewed 28 million times in the period. Sales following launch has been strong as this relative newcomer to our offer continues to grow in popularity. Okay, sure. Views on your video do not directly akin to sales.
Not necessarily, no.
They help, absolutely, but they do not directly akin to sales. Following last year's relaunch, we have been revisiting some much-loved factions from our Warhammer 40k universe with Space Marines. No shit! You're always gonna go revisit them, you fucks. Adeptus Sororitas, Orcs, and Astra Militarum, all receiving new models in this period. The new version of Kill Team, our fast-paced skirmish game set in 40k universe, was well-received by hobbyists, proving its long-term place in our offer. No, it was not.
No.
Man, Octarius, just like the Black Templars box, did not sell the way they wanted it to sell. It's still on shelves. It's still at Quantum Games, and it did not sell how they were hoping it to sell. We celebrated this with a high-end animated battle sequence, which quickly became our most immediately watched piece of content ever, with almost 6 million views. Cool. That doesn't attribute to sales, because it's free. The Imperium part work aimed at those new or recruiting or returning to the 40K hobby was, that's the whole magazine subscription that gives you free models with every magazine thing.
Which I would love to be a part of, honestly.
I'd love to be, but it's not here. It's not in Canada. They just released it in America. It's not in Canada, and I would struggle to believe it would ever come to Canada, but whatever.
Probably not.
Yeah,
because those were a fucking steal.
Oh, that...
That's the way to get flayed ones.
That's the way to get flayed ones. But Games Workshop never wants to discount their miniatures because it takes away, if they ever actually 20% off on every of their models, it would take away from the whole idea of this is a luxury hobby. We don't discount miniatures in luxury hobbies. So
I think it's funny that in some of those you just get a crate.
Yeah, that's it.
You just get a freaking
little crate.
A little space container.
Yeah, a little space container. It's
and
awesome.
it's in 4 of them.
Yeah, it's
I found that so funny.
Cool. Some of them you might Robute Gilliman, dope.
What?
Or Robute Gilliman's in one of the issues. He's very, very, very far down.
Way down there, right?
But he's in there. You can get him, and they marketed it a lot. It was you can get a lot of models, including the Primarch Robute Gilliman himself. You also get crates.
Isn't that great?
Cool.
Yeah.
And then the final thing is our epic Horus Heresy novel series is drawing close to its galaxy-changing conclusion. Finally.
$45 later.
Yeah. Currently standing at over 7.5 million words, we aren't aware of a more detailed and in-depth story in any fantasy or science fiction IP. Fuck off.
Patting their own back.
Yeah, it's congratulations, the Horus Heresy novel series is so successful. It does not attribute to profits, obviously. This has nothing to do with your profits. You're just patting yourself. We don't know of any other book series or anything that's as successful.
As big as this one.
Fuck off. We know what happens. You're not going to surprise anyone when the end of the Horus Heresy is can you believe Horus died? No.
And he's not just dead. He's dead.
Yeah, he's alt-forward from existence. Congratulations. We know. Anyways, so this podcast has gone longer than intended, but I'm so sad.
GW needs to
I'm
do
so
something.
upset. I can't. This reveals so much to me. Some of it I already in my heart knew. But I think the thing that blew my mind the most was how they view Warhammerplus. That I can't believe.
Gatekeeping from the company itself.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
I can't believe. That is the most mind-boggling thing to me. But the worst part is that Warhammerplus has the foundation, the opportunity to be so much.
But they're just doing nothing.
But they're doing nothing. And it's more expensive than Netflix. I can watch everything on Warhammerplus in a day. I could never finish everything Netflix offers in a year. And Netflix is cheaper.
And Netflix is always changing, always adding new things.
It's always adding new things. Yes,
this is not.
Yes, they have animations coming. Planned and coming and everything, and sure, but
my question is, why didn't they wait another year? And just have things
well, actually, I know why. Because Astartes just finished with part 5, and the hype was at its absolute peak, and they saw the bag, and they went, yoink! Sorry, I know the microphone just flicked everywhere when I did that. But the peak and the hype was at its highest, and they wanted to bank in when it was at its absolute highest. But the mind-boggling thing about that is it was at its peak and its highest as new people were flooding in, coming into it. And then all those new people went away because you're not marketing it. It just makes me sad. I'm so angry, but I'm so disappointed. It blows my mind. Oh, I haven't even talked about the Munitorium Field Manual. That's a whole other slap in the face.
The paid subscription.
Yeah. Well, Warhammer tournaments are now in seasons every 6 months
Ugh,
with new
that's such a
chapter
cash
approved.
grab.
It's an unbelievable cash
It would be
grab.
one
It's so
thing if they just
stupid.
released it online as a PDF,
Which they very easily could do.
which they
And,
very
like,
easily could do.
I feel the most, like, I'm upset about that, but who I feel the most upset for in terms of that is Custody players. They just got their new codex, just released, paid $60 for a brand new codex. In 1 week, irrelevant. Points at the back of it, not equivalent anymore.
Nope.
You have to buy another book for $20 more with your points on it.
Mm-hmm. Just ridiculous.
And it's like, that book, it's not new. That book, it's printed, it had to ship worldwide. That's been in works for like 4 or 5 months to get before it reaches customers' hands. So has the fucking codex for longer than that. If you knew the codex points were not going to be correct in 1 week's time, why bother? It should be free, which technically it is on the Warhammer app because it gets updated automatically. But like the missions aren't in there. You still have to buy the book if you want to play the missions or anything.
All the missions are getting changed a little bit.
Yeah, the missions are getting changed. The new stratagems, some of them are getting changed. There's new stratagems in general for the armies who haven't got their codex yet. Cool.
The secondaries,
Cool. Yeah. Oh, sorry, secondaries, not stratagems. Cool. We got a small bit of a bone. They're not great, but thanks for the bone. Where's my 2 wounds? Where's my fucking codex? So it's just a slap. If it was like a $5 or even a $10 book, okay.
Yeah,
sure.
That would be fine. But it's at minimum
but it's gonna
like
be,
$30.
It's going to be $20, $30 for the 2 books. The point changes is dumb. And like the missions are cool. I want to play those missions. But just release the mission book and to keep the points as a free PDF. Your FAQs are already free. Make your points free.
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous part is that they have the platform with which to already do it.
Yeah,
they just choose not to.
They just choose not to.
Because they love the money.
They love the money. They love to do it. Oh, I just had a thought now. The chapter approved always has had core rules in the back of it, so you didn't need to lug around the codex, so you had the core rules with you. You only needed the chapter approved for that year, the year you're playing, which has the missions that you're going to play, has the core rules at the back, and then you had the book with the point changes if you needed them. You don't really need those if you're having
Battle
Scribe's been updated or the official app, so you don't need that. But the mission book and everything, great. And if you need to look up a rules change, it's at the back of that book. It's not even printed with the core rules anymore. They cut that out of the book. Are they going to change the price for it? No! They're just making the book smaller, but they're not increasing the profit, and now they're going to release this every 6 months. The rules are going to change, the points are going to change every 6 months.
And then there's also the extra books on top of of the armies that have like the extra supplements, like the Leviathan one, which completely changed the way the army was played.
The new form of Psychic Awakening, whatever it's called.
Oh man.
War book. Or the war books, like Act
Warzone.
1 book. Warzone, that's what it is.
Warzone books. Which, for the most part, it's just like the stuff you need is like 4 or 5 pages near the back.
Like, cool. Thanks for the lore. Thanks for the pretty pictures and everything. But in order to play my army, you know what I need? I paid $40 for this book. No, it's more than that. It's like $50 for this book. You know what I need? These 2 pages in the back. That's it. That's all I need.
Yeah, Magikarp has already done like his little spiel on it, and it makes he agrees. We agree with him as well. It's so ridiculous. Like, I don't even buy those books because there's no point.
Yeah.
I can get everything that's in there from Wahapedia in like a month, in like a week.
Yep.
Like I genuinely buy like the codex just so I'm able to look, and that's all I'm gonna do.
Yep.
That's the max amount. And I have to get the chapter approved because you need to be able to see those.
Yep.
Because I like having to have that like in my face, and I know what the mission is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, like, even the core rulebook right now, the missions in the core rulebook, at this point,
don't exist.
Yeah, you can go play them, but they're not, if all the models were still the same, or all the armies in terms of points and everything were still the same as when you play them, sure, then it makes sense to play them. But with the new codexes and the way armies playing those old missions, even though it's the same fucking edition, it's 9th edition missions, but they're not playable with the new landscape and the new way the codexes play out for all the new armies and such. So you have to play these new missions. And it's just, man, it's so disappointing.
Yep.
I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just upset. And my biggest fear now is that, like, it's clear Games Workshop is making a statement by making their own Battle Force app that they're gunning for Battle Scribe. And with Wahapedia as well, it's only a matter of time, and because I very, very much fear once Games Workshop feels that they can go for it, I think they're going to go for Warhammerpedia, and they're going to like try and take it down. And same with Battlescribe.
Yep. I would not be surprised,
because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how rights work in this instance, but they are using their IP and their rules, and they are posting it for free from something that they have a paid service for. So I don't know what the rules are for
I don't think there's any ads on Warhammerpedia. Like, there's no income coming from it.
No, which
makes it a lot harder to go after.
It's a lot harder to go after. Battlescribe, however, does have advertisements on it. Do. So I don't know.
They also do a lot more games than just Warhammer.
Yes, they do.
But Warhammer is the most likely one to kill them.
Warhammer is absolutely like their biggest fucking thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. The way Games Workshop operates, I would not be surprised if we see a Twitter post from Warhammerpedia or Battlescribe being like, "Hey guys, I got a letter." Like I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. And that's my biggest fear, is because with Warhammerpedia going away or Battlescribe going away, the door to get into the hobby just closes that much more. But not only does it close much more, the people already inside who, I mean, I'm going to be honest, every time I play a game with someone, like even at the Amiable Bright, everyone there is using Battlescribe. I was the only guy that showed up with all my printed paper and like felt pen shit, because I couldn't do Battlescribe, and the app didn't exist at that point. So I showed up, printed all my paperwork and everything, and man, I felt like such an asshole going through my paperwork trying to find everything while everybody else is there on Battlescribe looking for the stuff. And I would love to do that if Battlescribe worked for me. But like all those guys, if Battlescribe went away, I don't know, honestly, if they keep playing. I don't know if there's enough people that would go to the Warhammer app to use it, or if they just say, you know what, fuck it, I'll print my paper. I don't know.
Yeah, so. Honestly, I'd be the same way. Like, Battlescribe makes it so easy to just pick up something, build an army real quick, and for it to just kind of like fall into place.
And then Warhammerpedia makes it very easy for stratagems. My favorite thing about Warhammerpedia with Warhammerpedia is the stratagem section, because not only do they list all the stratagems for the army that I want to look at, but they also list the stratagems in order of when to use them. Mm-hmm. That is so good.
And if you go to a specific unit, it shows you all the stratagems.
Yeah, for that unit.
Which for Space Marines is a lot.
Oh god, yeah. But that's my favorite thing, honestly, because I load that up and I can see, okay, I'm in the movement phase. I only need to worry about these stratagems. I don't need to look through my cards of stratagems like, what stratagem can I use in this movement phase here? I just go to Warhammerpedia. I can use these 4. These are the only 4 on my turn for movement that I can use at. So much simpler. On your turn, I look at the red side. Okay, it's his turn. These are stratagems I have during your turn. I don't have to sift through my fucking pile of data cards going, when can I use this? During opponent's move. Fuck. It just makes it so easy. Mm-hmm. And if that goes away, have fun remembering. Have fun memorizing. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, I don't want to talk about this anymore. We're going to end the podcast there. I apologize that
it's a lot of harping and a lot of bitching and bellyaching.
Yeah, but it was a lot of harping, bitching, and bellyaching. It needs to be said. But I read this today, and I couldn't believe it, and I had to talk about it. And apologies in advance. I will be making YouTube videos about this, because this shit just gets me so fucking riled up. And I want nothing more than for more people in this hobby. I want there to be more people to be able to get into this hobby and play this hobby. We want
to share in
I want to share in this hobby. I want to be able to get people. Kids are cringe and everything, but I want kids to be able to get into this hobby. I want them to be able to play with their parents and grow up and gather armies and paint and everything. But with the way Games Workshop wants this luxury hobby to be, it's impossible. Mm-hmm. And it's only going to get harder. And honestly, as cynical as it is, I hope their profits continues to drop. Because maybe then they will realize, holy fuck, something is seriously wrong here. It started by dropping 33%.
But that's I feel like that's just going to where it was before.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is they're coming off their highest financially successful year ever, so of course it was going to drop. But again, they expected it to drop by no more than 10, and it dropped by 33.
Good.
So I really, really hope, and again, I don't wish ill will at Games Workshop. I mean, there's a lot of sections about like the people who make the rules are not the people who sell the product. Like there's so many different industry areas about Games Workshop that I wish no ill will on. People who write the codexes are fantastic. The artists that make artwork, the novels and all that stuff, like the people who make the rules and everything, I have no ill will about those people. But it's the senior management, it's the people responsible for pricing and marketing that hobby. Something needs to be done. And if it doesn't, I have a hard time believing that it's going to find out, because people are waking up. Australia woke up. Australia went, this is fucking nuts, and just said, fuck that. Asia doesn't want it. And their idea is to raise the profit by 25%. Like, you're just going to push them away further. And it's only going to get worse, I feel. And in a way, that's a good thing, because then maybe Games Workshop will realize, holy fuck, we need to make some substantial changes. Whoever wrote this, however, I have a little bit of hope for, just from that one line saying our biggest risk is senior management, which this was from. I have some hope for that, but I don't know what value there is in that one sentence going, our biggest risk is senior management getting lazy. I will do my best to make sure it doesn't happen.
Probably not a
Probably not a whole lot, but it's interesting that sentence is there. So
at least it's there.
At least it's there. Someone in senior management who wrote this is aware that that is a possibility, that our biggest risk is senior management getting lazy, or sorry, complacent is their word. But honestly, I hope they do. And I hope they suddenly realize, holy shit, our hobby's dying. No one's buying our models. What do we do? And they will realize increasing the price is just going to drive them further away. Mm-hmm. I think Games Workshop needs to realize that as much as they want this hobby to be a luxury hobby, you can't ride off that coattail for this long. I think and I honestly believe, especially with now that COVID shut down and like Games Workshop tournaments aren't happening and like that kind of stuff is not happening, people are playing at home and just local events more, and people are just showing up like proxy models, and everyone's like, yeah, that's fine, play with that. Doge Van Dyer's on Dice Check. Like, people are playing with proxy models and they're having a great time, because even if the model's not the same model, you still play the game. You're still playing the game, and that's what's fun. Not having the exact correct model, you're playing the game. And
I mean, some people like to have the exact correct model, and that's great.
And that's me. I want to play with those models because I love those models, because I love those stories. But damn, like, Dave and his Ravage Star line looks good, and I would love to get into it. It's a bit pricey for me, but I can't deny those models look nice, which is very interesting to see that he's launching those very clearly proxy models. He's even posted on Twitter, like, models that look like obliterators, but they're bigger than obliterators. And he's like, before these release, should we reduce them in size so they're actually like in line with actual obliterators, or do you like them as bigger sizes? And someone replied to him and said, if your goal is to proxy them, you should probably make them as close to physical size as possible. And he said, that would be good, thumbs up. So clearly Dave is in the market. Like, it's brand new models, not to infringe on their IP for Games Workshop, but he is intending for these to be used as proxies, and they're coming out on a Play on Tabletop episode. I don't know if you saw that trailer, but no. But he's using that Ravage Star line in a Play on Tabletop episode, sponsored, and he's using them as word bearers for a Chaos Army. So it's very much intended to be used as proxies.
I'm surprised he's playing word bearers.
Me too. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But so that's the thing that's coming. But that also, harking back to that NDA. They must have terminated that NDA, because there's no possible way they'd be able to make those models, play them in a Warhammer game. That might be why it's on Play on Tabletop and not on their own YouTube page. I just realized that.
Yeah, that's probably.
Because Play on Tabletop has probably not signed that NDA.
Probably not. They've got a lot of proxies.
Yeah, they've had a lot of proxies.
And
that 1,000 Suns army with like the skulls and everything. I don't know if you saw that.
It was a Marine army.
There's a Chaos Thousand Suns army, and they had like Armin, who was like essentially a skull in a spacesuit, and they had like a dragon. It was all proxied models, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Not one model in that whole line was Games Workshop's models, but you don't have to have them as that. Just, you're still playing the game. As long as the base size and the model size is the equivalent to what it would be in order to play the game, do it.
Go for it.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going to be it. So, not about nerd shit, at least. What? I have no shame, Daydream. Oh, I missed a couple of things. Sorry. No Dreadnought for him. Thank you and good night. I'm sorry, Daydream. That was probably what I said I was going to end it. Well, guess what? Welcome to how I end these podcasts. We're ending.
AKA, you don't.
Yeah. the Bitchcast. Jackson, my Ico Mini. Oh,
Yes.
you can pick that up. I'll remind you. I think I'll get into Warhammer eventually. I'm going to wait until I get an apartment, though. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. If you're going to make any big purchases, make life-changing ones first, not Games Workshop. Their profit margin's high enough, they don't need your money. Honestly. Honestly, if you're going to get into Warhammer models, first place to look at, Facebook buy and sell local areas around you, and eBay. Kijiji's not a thing in America, but like, I'd check those first. Buy secondhand models, and if you get them on sprues, even better. They haven't been altered. But like, do that. You'll get the models that you would get from Games Workshop. They might, but they'll be cheaper. To hide your shame, breach JK. I have no shame, Daydream. Not about nerd shit, at least. Gotcha. Kijiji is Canadian? Yeah, Kijiji is Canadian. So, the more you know. All right. I talked a lot. Do you have anything you want to say before we end the podcast?
No.
Okay.
That's about it. Shit sucks.
Shit sucks. I do have one final good thing to mention. I started watching Hammer and Bolter on Warhammerplus, all its individual episodes. There's a new Necron episode about Trazyn that showcases his vault. I'm sure you've seen the memes of that image on Reddit, so you already know it's a thing. I haven't watched that episode yet, but I harped on Old Bale Eye's episode. I thought it was okay. It had some interesting moments, but overall, I wasn't super impressed. There's a Adeptus Mechanicus episode. That one I loved. I thought that episode...
Belisarius Call?
No.
Oh.
That has nothing to do with Call. It's just this random admech on a searching for knowledge, and damn, I loved that episode. That one I thought was brilliant. I'd love to show you that episode. It's short. I think it's only like maybe 15, 20 minutes, but it's good. That is the one time where I'm like, I liked that. That was fun. There's also Inquisitor episode that has to do with the assassins as well. That one was neat. It wasn't perfect, but it was neat to see. So Hammer and Bolter has, I've noticed, it has like a gem here or there. There's one video about Sisters of Battle that I'm like, is okay. And then Old Bale Eye, okay. I have high hopes for the Necron one because everyone's memeing on it on Reddit. So I have high hopes for that one. But the AdMech episode, I really like that one. I think you'd enjoy that one. It's really, really cool. So anyways, all right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you guys coming down and watching the podcast. I'm sorry it was longer than intended. I'm sorry if we had any audio problems as well, trying out new things. Let us know. Did you like this setup where we're further from the microphone? We have more to move around, and we're actually, more of us is in the frame. Let me know, because I'm always looking to improve this and, make it better. Not just for you guys to watch it, but also for us in general. I liked this, having more room to maneuver around and not have to be up on my microphone all the time and worry about that.
They can see my face.
Yeah, they can see your face as well. So, things are more light. But I enjoy the setup. Okay, that's cool. I'm glad. You can be more expressive. Exactly. I can move around a lot more, and I don't have to be constrained under the desk. So that's
and
fun.
slamming the desk.
And slamming is fucking... Yeah, I could do that a lot more. That probably fucks the microphone entirely. So I was like seeing my boyfriend's face. Okay, well, that has nothing to do with the podcast. So, but anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you guys again in 2 weeks. If you enjoyed the podcast and you want to support us, we do have stickers available in the links down below. You can get yourself a Wings and Riffs sticker, slap that on a notebook or, on a model. Fucking slap like a Supreme sticker on there. And yeah, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. I hope you guys have yourselves a good night, good evening. And I'm going to make it a point that next episode, I don't want it to be a ranty episode, not just about Games Workshop, but just in general. I rant a lot, but that's because I'm passionate and I love this hobby and I want it to succeed. The Games Workshop makes it very hard. So, yeah, I don't like ranting because it's easy to do and it comes
hard
out
to
of love,
stop.
but it's hard to stop.
Like the podcast.
Good night, everyone. Hope you have a fantastic night. We'll see you guys all next week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Right. Fuck. There's no music. Shit.
Excellent ending.
Have a good night. Bye.